This is my 20-year-old 2004 sub £1,000 Volvo XC90. And as you can imagine, for a car that costs less than £1,000, there are a few issues. And I've been going through trying to fix as many things as possible, hoping they're not massive things that are going to cost more than the value of the car, which is probably the case. And if you didn't know and you're new here, welcome, hello. The whole point of this series is not just to bring more life to a car that was ultimately going to end up in the scrap heap, but it's to take this Scandinavian beast on a 6,500 kilometre trip all the way to the Arctic Circle and hopefully back again. But in order to do that, I thought I'd better give it some love first. And now one of the problems with this car is it judders. And by that I mean, when you're driving along, under load, it goes a bit like this. And I'm pretty sure it's the engine mounts, but I'm not certain. So I figured I'd buy the engine mounts, replace them, and then just see if I've wasted my money or not. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to do that at my house, on my own, and probably really struggle with that. So I suppose we should get on with that. So these are the engine mounts I have. I've got this one, which is the rear one, which I believe holds the gearbox, that side of things. I also have this one, which I believe also sits at the back of the engine from my extensive YouTube research. I have this one, which is exactly the same, which sits at the front. And then I kind of have these two, which I'm not really sure where they go, but I'm sure I'll figure that out as I start pulling this thing apart. Yes, you can see how this is going to go. But before I take this down in an attempt not to mess this up, a lot of people have been asking about the iGo, like what's going on, why haven't we had any updates? Well, I've just been waiting for stuff to arrive, and as you can imagine, just there's lots of different pieces. And more than that, it's just delays. So the wheels were supposed to be here last week, and now they're arriving hopefully intact, because FedEx, on Monday. Well, that means that I should have a video after this one that you're seeing now on fitting the wheels. But I want to kind of enjoy the car for maybe a week on its new wheels before I take it all apart with the stuff. I've also been in contact with Charger Tech. I'm trying to get sorted out all the different bits I need from them. I have things like intercooler, supercharger, other bits and pieces that I need to start actually taking the things apart and putting it together. So there are lots of different things. But first and foremost, I want to get it on its wheels, see what it looks like with that, because that will be fun. My tyres have arrived, yes. So once I've got that, wheels and tyres will be next, and hopefully it will start to look a little bit less fucking stupid. It won't, it will always look stupid. So wheels and tyres next, and then move on. Anyway, let's go on with fixing this one, because that's why we're here. Now, taking the engine cover off and looking under the bonnet, I can already see one thing that seems a bit not as it should be, I should say. Like this. I'm pretty sure there's not supposed to be that level of movement in this. Now, is that in these bushes? Maybe I should change those too, because that doesn't seem normal. That seems excessive. But then that seems to be the thing that I will need to change. That I think, fortunately, I do have. So that might answer that question. But is that the answer to my judder? I suppose we're going to find out soon enough. So I've removed the torque bar, which weighs an absolute friggin' ton, but in the process, it kind of meant that I also removed the top engine mount. But I also removed these bushes that were on the end of that torque bar, and they don't actually feel too bad. Probably worth replacing while I'm there. However, I think I have found the culprit to this problem. Let me just show you the new mount here. All good, right? Sorted. Now let me show you the old mount. Therein lies a problem. That, ladies and gentlemen, could be simply the fix to my juddering issues. So I suppose we should fit this one and test it out. So it's the next day and I've moved it down here. The heavens opened last night, but now the sun is shining and it's beautiful, but I have a limited amount of time to fit all of these and I don't even know where all of them go. So yes, wicked, but I'm gonna give it a go and I'm gonna start with this front one, which is the same as the back one, because I think I know where they go. And I think I know where this one goes. But first of all, I need to take off all the airbox and everything like that, so I can get access down there, and let's just start stripping it apart really and see what happens. Right, so I removed the airbox, which is here. To be fair, I realised it doesn't actually give me that much more access. However, I do have a new air filter, and this one isn't disgusting. However, there was lots of leaves in it, so it's not great. So I've got another one of those. I'll put that in at the same time. Saves me another job. Bonus. And now what I've done is I've cracked off and taken off the nut from the top of the engine mount down here. I need to get in and crack it from the bottom, get the jack under, jack the engine up enough so I can slide this old one out and then hopefully be able to maneuver the new one in. But let's give that a go. See if I can get one down. With the engine jacked up, I managed to get this old one out, and this is the new one, and you think, well, they don't look actually too dissimilar, which is true, but you can see this one's quite perished on the top. But also you can see it's actually shrunk quite a bit because this is actually coming out, so it's obviously shrunk enough for it to come out, which is bad times. Obviously, and there's also a bit of a broken part for the vacuum, which makes it run a bit poorly as well, so it's a good job these are being replaced. These are Volvo ones, so God knows when these were last done, but you should be able to just slip this one back in and do it up. That's the idea anyway, and then we'll have another engine mount done. Right, so that's another mount off, and it's this bottom one here. I took it apart just so I can see how fucked it was. The replacement is down here, which is this replacement here. You can see this is nice and stiff. You can see with this one, I'll go a bit closer, so that's not even attached anymore. I think I could probably push that out. So that's two, well, that's all three that have been pretty messed up. So I think this was definitely a good job to do. Look at that. All right, let's go into the pile of shit. Let's put this one back on. Right, with those three now in, we've got the top one, the front one, the gearbox support mount. We now have the last back one, which is another one of these. Another one of these. So we have to access it from the top at first, crack that one off there at the top, and then you have to access it via the bottom, which is a complete pain. But I'm hoping that once you crack it off, hopefully if I can get enough leverage on it, it shouldn't be too bad, famous last words. But then that's the last one. Obviously I've got to wait still for the two cross-member torque bar bushes to arrive. I only ordered them yesterday, so they'll be here probably in a few days. But I'm hoping putting them back together with all the other ones changed will have made a significant difference anyway. The downside is, while I was under there, I noticed a few things that probably needed changing as well. Like wishbone bushes and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to change the wishbone bushes. Could do with some new brakes, because the brake discs, fuck, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a long list. But I'll come back to those things at the end, things that I've noticed. First of all, I need to get this last one on, and there's not much space for these vacuum hoses and that down there, so let's crack on with that one. Oh, right, I've got that last one out. That was involved under there a lot. It doesn't actually look too bad, but the rubber is quite soft compared to the new one. But from a looks point of view, it doesn't look too bad. But either way, I'm going to have to drop this through the top, trying to get it in position while under the car, and then try and get it all lined up and back into place. There is not much space under there, so this is the toughest one by far yet, but let's try and get it back in. So that's in, but the last thing I've got to do is get the nut on the top, and I've like lowered the engine so it's actually aligned on it, which was also a pain in the ass, but now I don't have a magnetic socket, so I have to lower it down without dropping it, which I have dropped about 4 times now, and it's kind of fucking annoying. So what I did was I got some like PTFE plumber's tape, wrapped it around the nut, and whacked it in there, so hopefully this will fucking stay on. Little tip from me to you. Genius, I think you'll find. Yes, thank you. I don't know if it's going to work yet. So with that all done, sorted, that PTFE thing worked a fucking treat, just to let you know. I'm going to swap over this minger for this less minger, because I'm here and why not. I've worked out I've got a couple of bolts that I actually can't remember where they go. So I'm going to have to work those out as well, but sexy. Sexy, sexy thing. Yes, that should make it slightly less shit. So I'm going to put that on as well. Oh, anyway, they go. Worked out, don't worry. I can go back on here. Go on, get in there. Get it. bear with me. Like that. Right, that's ready to go back in. There. Perfect. The main thing I need to get back on now, which is going back under the car, is the under tray. But should we have a quick look at some of the things that probably do definitely need, yeah, let's have a look at the things that need replacing. And there might be a little oil leak, but it's a 20-year-old Volvo, so fucking who cares? But let's have a quick look. Right, you can see there that those have seen better days. So both sides are the same. So I'm gonna replace those. The other bushes back there don't actually look too bad, but these are fairly easy, he says, to replace, I think, for the wishbones. So I'm probably, see, bolt there, bolt either side. I'm hoping that it's that simple. I've seen a video on it, so I'm hoping that it's not so bad. We will see. But they're the main things, really. I think that's the main thing. And the brakes, look at the discs on this bad boy. These discs have got more grooves than I've ever seen in my life. So they are fucked. Yes. And is there a little play? Not really. There might be a little play in that wheel bearing, but it's not too bad, really. But those discs definitely need doing. I'll add that to the list of things then, shall I? I would do the oil change today, but I'm not going to. So simple as that. Does need an oil change. I've got the oil. I've got a filter. But I'll do that. And you think, well, why are you putting the under tray back on if you're going to do? Very valid point, actually. I'm going to leave it off because I am going to be doing the oil probably very soon. I'm going to do the oil on the iGo and the oil on this in one video. So, fuck it, I'm going to leave it off. I've made my choice. Everything's now back together. I put the torque bar back on. Obviously, that will pop back off when I have those new mounts. But I'm hoping that, irrespective of those two being changed, the main juddering will have gone. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm just kidding. I'm clearly going to test it to see if it's gone. So let's go and do that because we need to know, right? We need to know. So let's take it for a spin. One thing I've actually noticed that no more judder. So that has cured all my juddering. However, has it? There's a little bit. Was be on full throttle like this. No judder. No judder. The only thing I've noticed is at idle now, it's obviously much stiffer because of the stiffer engine mounts, so it makes more noise there. But that's where it would normally judder. There's no judder there. That is an absolute win. Honestly. See a little bit down there, but I don't think that's abnormal at all. And I'll change those top bits. But I think that is absolutely perfect. That has made my day that this has made a difference, because the biggest time you can tell when this is making the noise is when you're on the motorway and you're just cruising along and you put your foot down like that. And instead of engine noise, which you can hear there, the car was really juddering, like so badly. And when I first picked up the car, I was thinking, oh my God, there's something wrong with this, because it was a significant judder. And now that is just so much better, so much better. I'm so pleased that that cured that problem. That's one problem down. Obviously, I've picked up a couple more problems in the whole brakes and wishbones, but that's normal. That's to be expected in a car this age, and they're just consumable parts, so I don't really mind. Job is a good one. I am massively, massively pleased with that. Oh, thanks very much for staying tuned to this series, and thanks also for staying tuned to the iGo series as well. And there will be huge updates coming soon. I have a lot to do. I'm just trying to get all the parts, as I mentioned, in one place. Loads of adventures coming, loads of road trips. Anything you'd love to see, I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one, where I hopefully fix some more of this and you get to see more of the iGo. Otherwise, peace.